I have a bit of a weird question for you that you don't have to answer if you don't want to, and then a pretty song. What is a good first step to take if for someone looking to incorporate spirituality in their life? Well, I think that you should try to focus on what it is that you're trying to find. If you're trying to find somebody to save you, then you might want to go and take a look at those religions that accommodate that. If you want to understand why you're suffering, there's other religious institutions that cover that. It's up to you and what it is that you're trying to answer. Okay, so it's up to you. And in my opinion, I think the first good step that you need to realize is that everybody who's an atheist who believes that we're just a bacteria on a rock, if that's the case, then why the fuck are we even existing? Why do we even have a conscience? Why are we doing all this? There has to be something else because of this existence. There has to be something else after this. This isn't just happenstance. Our consciousness isn't something that's just made up. You are a real person. You are a real spirit. You're a real soul. But you have to understand what you are first. And many people fall victim to all the evil sins. You know, vanity right now is one of the easiest sins that people are just falling for, and they're not even getting anything for it. All right, look at how I look. I'm a social media influencer and all this other fucking crap. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that know that this is not happenstance. This is not bacteria on a rock. And once you understand that, that's when you can take your first step into what it really is. Anyway, Mongong, let's play your video here. It says it's a nice, pretty song. This is Odessa, The Last Goodbye, featuring Bet Lavette. And look at all the atheists in the room. Only somebody who has succumbed to the fact that they're nothing are going to get so mad at you attempting to say that there's something. Only people that have already sold their soul without them even knowing would talk like that. All right, I'm digging it. By the way, cheers to everybody out there, man. We'll get back to Radio Graffiti in a second. I definitely needed this palate cleanser there, Mongong. And once again, only you can find your spiritual path, but you have to define who it is that you are. And if you know that you're something, that's the first step. Meaning, I have control of my conscience. I got control of my senses. I'm not living like most of these people in La La Land, in fantasy. That's how most people are operating, on a conscious and subconscious level. Fantasy. And fantasy is more dangerous than being a bum on the street dealing with reality, in my opinion. How about Mongong, Radio Graffiti?
Hey, Ghost, what's up, man?
Well, not too much. I'm just sitting here, I don't know. I don't know what's happening tonight, man. I'm just going. I'm just going along, you know?
Yeah, it's been a rough show.
Yeah, man. How you doing, man?
I don't know. I'm tired. Smoking a joint here.
Oh, yeah? You work day? You had a long work day or some shit?
No, I just fucking... This has been like one of those fucking days where I just I just can't get my brain to focus on anything, really. It feels like I'm moving through mud, if that makes sense.
No, man, that makes sense. Is that why you inquired about, like, you know, a path to spirituality?
No, I had that question for like a while, and you seem to be a little knowledgeable, so I thought I should ask it if it was a little weird.
Well, look, I mean, everybody has to choose their own path spiritually, but you have to know what it is that you want answered or you want accommodated in your life. And I feel that there are certain religions that accommodate the ambition of somebody that wants to be spiritual for a certain reason. And in my view, all you have to realize is that you're not bacteria on a rock, and that your consciousness, what you think, your sight, your smell, your feel, what you hear, that is who you are, and your interpretations of that is who you are, and your appreciation of things. I mean, because remember, no matter how bad it is in your life right now, believe me, I know it sounds proverbial, but there are billions of people that have it a lot worse, under worse conditions, and I mean poverty, starvation, war, terrorism, disease, you name it. And you have to know that whatever bad position that you're in now, so long as you have air in your lungs, you're clothed, you're housed, and you're fed, I mean, you're pretty much better off than most of the people in the world. And unfortunately, many people in Western civilization fall under the hypnosis of the power of suggestion by many different forces, the media, social media influencers, musical artists, and that sort of thing. And they implant a certain perspective on what it is that they think or you think your life should be. You know what I mean? And your life isn't suggested. I mean, once you are impressioned by something that you are now trying to guide your life towards, you're not living your life. You're living something that has been suggested to you, and it's been influenced on you. And once you can disband yourself from that type of influence, that's when you know who you are, because you can identify that, hey, I'm not going to be influenced, even though, the scenes that are being shown in, I don't know, a rap album showing bitches and, gold chains and cars. I know that is not real. And the suggested idea, the suggested attitude, everything is not real. It is being portrayed. It is something that is trying to suggest to me, and that's what's happening right now. And if you can get yourself out of that power of suggestion by these people, and what I mean by these people, I'm talking about the powers that be, then you start finding your path to spirituality.
All right. That's a lot to take in, man. But I'll definitely think about all of that.
All right, man. Well, truly think about it. Truly think about it. Truly think about it, man.
Will.
All right, man. Well, cheers to you, and I wish you the best of luck. And that goes for everybody out there. All right, because the easy thing to do is much like what these trolls do. Not take it serious. Try to be a cringe, a try-hard, and a edgelord about it as copium mechanisms, because they don't really want to face the reality. And that's why many of them don't even want to leave their fucking room. They don't want to leave their fucking parents' house because they're too scared or too chicken shit to do anything for themselves. So it's easy just to go through the motions and live in fantasy and just be accommodated in this reality so they can continue to live in fantasy. They can continue to live on video games and animations and all this other bullshit. So anyway, didn't mean to get so philosophical here, all right? But you all have to recognize, and I'm talking to you folks that, oh yeah, it's funny, a lot of the lol stuff, a lot of the memes, it's all suggestion. And unless you can be in charge of your own conscience, like understand what's being suggested to you before you actually fall for it, then I think that you people will find yourself a little bit different as far as your conscience, as far as your spirituality is concerned. But that's easier said than done, because, I mean, they call Mother Earth a female. And that's why that saying, life's a bitch and then we die, well, that's why right there. Okay, let's get back to Radio Graffiti. And hold on, we got Santa that wants to be. Santa, you there? Radio Graffiti.
Hey, yeah, sorry. This is just a question, or I guess like kind of an observation as well. You get really passionate about the like kind of the spooky stuff, the esoteric stuff. Why don't you make a show of it? You really seem to get into it and like it.
Well, because I don't think that I'm in the position to be guiding anybody's spirituality. I mean, because anybody that tries to claim that they have the answer for spirituality is a charlatan. So, I mean, because look, I mean...
No. Oh, sorry.
No, well, listen, if I was to do that, then I would be profiting off of guiding people to spiritual paths. And that's not good.
What I mean.
Go ahead.
I see your point, but that's not really what I mean. I mean, we're talking about, I guess, like when you get into the eyes wide shut stuff and things like that. There, kind of like what those, kind of like what the Y-Files does. But I mean, you can talk about whatever you want. It's just I personally find it really interesting when you get into that stuff. And I think you'd really enjoy it if you were to do it, because like I said, you get real passionate about it. You seem to like doing it anyway. When the topic goes there.
Well, listen, I only go into it when I'm inquired, all right? Because if somebody is inquiring, that means that they're genuinely trying to listen, especially when it comes to spiritual elements. When you're just talking, all right? When you're just talking about spirituality and people already going to tune off because if it goes against what their worldview and their spiritual view is, they automatically turn it off and they don't even want to entertain it, and they turn into fucking edgelords like these stupid fucking wastes of life in the Vaughn chat. But you see, I know that there's people out there that don't fall victim to this, oh, I'm nothing, I don't care, I'm a tard, I just want to play video games, I want to watch VTubers all day, I want to stay in this juvenile, kind of mentality, this man-child mentality where I don't want to grow up, because these folks feel comfortable in being soulless. Because how most people are guided whenever they're obsessed in fantasy, they're guided by symbolism. And that's why when they get up, everything that they do in their day is guided by symbols. There's a symbol to turn the power on for every electronic out there that's manufactured, the universal power symbol. There's symbols for everything. There's symbols for restrooms. There's, when you go and take your car out, there's stop symbols. There's yield symbols. There's traffic signs. There's all this shit. That's what people are being controlled. Most people can legitimately go through a whole day of work and everyday routine and not legitimately be conscious about it throughout the whole fucking day. And because they're not fucking there, they're in fucking La La Land. They're fucking fantasy. They're not cognizant of what they're doing throughout their day. They're thinking about fantasy 24 hours, and that's fucking dangerous. And of course, the people that are in the Vaughn chat, believe me, most of these people, reality will hit them at one point in their life. And at some point, when the reality hits them in their life, they're probably going to do one of three things. They're probably either going to break down and either try to be the burden on somebody else, like a grandma or, fucking auntie or whoever, or they're going to get addicted to some shit and I'll either be put in jail or who the fuck knows, or in a fucking tard asylum, or they're going to die by killing themselves or, putting themselves in a very precarious situation that causes their demise. And that's what these people are going to do. All right. I mean, everybody out here who is just, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to continue to watch fantasy. And look, you got people in there. Reality is a myth. This idiot that says reality is a myth is probably the same person that's pissing and moaning why shit isn't going right in his or her life.
Oh, it's fucking society. I don't have some significant other because it's society's fault.
You see, once you start realizing that once you're an adult, all right, you have the control over your fucking life. You have control over it. It's just you taking the initiative and understanding that, hey, I can't live in fucking fantasy 24 hours a day. I actually got to go fucking do some shit. I got to earn a living. You're not given a living, you earn a living. And most of you people have already checked out because aside from you living in fantasy, you believe that things are going to happen to you. And all the people that are saying boomer rant, these are the same fucking losers that think that things are going to happen to them. And when it doesn't happen, they're going to blame everybody except their pathetic waste of life selves that looks at them every time in the morning in the mirror. Every single one of them. So that's why, when I see these people and they're trying hard, the most cringiest and the most edgelord type of comments that you see in the chat room, these are the people that are going to be alone. They're going to be alone forever. They're going to try to find their way through life. And what they're going to find is because they've been living in fantasy for so long, their life passes them by. And then before you know it, they're like, oh shit, I'm 50 years old. What the fuck happened to my life? You lived it in fucking La La Land, you fucking piece of shit. So go fuck yourself, all right? Go. Good for you. You just wasted your life away. Good for you. Give me a drink. I don't want to be so esoteric because I mean, I really shouldn't be saying this kind of stuff. Because what it does, when you tell people about, like, holy shit, and they make fucking connections and they don't really understand like how things got there. They just understand the connection. They don't understand, how it got there. And I'm just giving you breadcrumbs, but Michael Jackson was probably one of the biggest facilitators of whatever you want to call this. The fallen, as I'd like to call it. Like the fallen, that doesn't just include Satan. That includes the 21 that fell with Satan. Read about those people. Or those, angels. You read about those angels. And you see, that's what anybody who's in power right now, anybody who seems to have, authority, that's what this is all about. I mean, there's different levels of consciousness. And this is why, going back to being able to be in control of every part of your senses and every part of your conscience. Because unfortunately, your subconscious, the shit that has you thinking shit when you don't want to, that's going to come and go. But if you have the ability to be able to control your own conscience and be able to be sensitive enough to understand your different senses and be able to differentiate from each other, you're on your way, in my personal opinion, to being someone who can potentially be enlightened. And let me tell you something. It's very easy to figure out whether or not you have control of your mind. Okay, everybody do an exercise with me. I know it sounds stupid, but let's just calm down and close our eyes. Okay, I know this sounds dumb. I know it sounds cliche, but close your eyes and just start breathing. Just start breathing. And what you want to do is start thinking about nothing. All right, think about nothing. Try to, when your eyes are closed and you're trying to, if your mind's going out of control, try to think about whatever it is that you physically see in your eyes that are being closed, which should be, darkness and black, and try to think about nothing. And let me tell you something. If you cannot think about nothing for 20 seconds at least, then you're a part of this whole shit. You're a part of the hypnotism. You're a part of the suggestion. You're a part of this crap.
For $1.
And what is this? Mental exercise? Yep, this is turning us trans now, isn't it? All right, great. Thanks a lot. You see, I'm trying to give you guys some understanding, all right? You just have to control your fucking mind, man. And this isn't Buddhist shit, because, look, I personally believe, y'all are throwing a lot of shit in chat. Buddha, I believe, was Satan. And Buddha, believe it or not, there's a lot of evidence that Buddha had world influence in different parts of the world in which there's no necessary connection, to it. Like, for instance, there's only been 2 expeditions into the crack of the ass of the Grand Canyon. All right, nobody's gone down. There's only been 2 expeditions down there. And look this up. I can show you the pictures. I have them here somewhere. Here, let me do that. There's Buddhist monoliths down there. There's Buddhist mummies and shit. I'm not joking around, man. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, here it is. Grand Canyon Buddha, Grand Canyon Shrine and shit. All right, look, this is at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I'm not fucking joking around. Now, what the hell is a Buddha statue? Put the PC shot on. What the hell is a Buddha statue doing at the bottom of the Grand Canyon in that capacity? By the way, there's the person that went down there by the government-sponsored expedition. The fuck is that doing down there? And on top of which, let's take a look. Here's some more evidence. Here are the monoliths that are down there that they found in the Grand Canyon. Put the PC shot on. Here, let me look at that shit. These are mummified fucking bodies. I'm not fucking joking around. Do not believe me. You're on the internet. Look this shit up. Look this shit up if I'm a fucking moron. I mean, that's the thing about the internet, man. You don't have to fucking take my word for it, you fucking morons. Look, here's another Buddha statue at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Now, why am I bringing this up? Put the PC shot on. Because Buddha, you're going to be able to find, and there's archaeologists that have found Buddha statues all over the world. And, nobody understands. They're underneath the ocean. They're all over the place. And anyway, going back to what I was saying about Buddha being Satan, is because there's a lot of Buddha monoliths at the bottom of the ocean. And I personally believe, and now, you can kind of read into this, you can find your own conclusion, but every goddamn religion talks about a great flood. And I think the great flood was because of Buddha. Buddha taught everybody how to do very, outside the material world type of things. I don't know if y'all ever have come across Buddhist monks that have lived in monastery and they go out of monastery for travel or some shit. All these fucking monks do is meditate and think and contemplate all fucking day. They don't even talk to each other in the Buddhist monasteries. All they do is fucking think and try to concentrate their mind. That's why Buddhist monks, there's PBS Nova documentaries about this. There's so much documented evidence that these Buddhists can do things that us regular modernity folks can't do. And hey, thank you, Women Are Stinky Holes. I'll get to you in just a minute. But anyway, there's a lot of things that Buddhists do, like they can dodge arrows or catch arrows in midair. I watched a Nova documentary back in the 90s that followed some of these Buddhist monks that are from the Himalayan monasteries go down into the Himalayan mountains, into a cave where it's like fucking 0 degrees and they're in their fucking monk gear and they're able to regulate their own body temperature. I mean, that's how conscious these fucking Buddhists are. Now, you can take from that what I just said what you will. But as I showed you that there was a Buddhist monolith and a Buddhist mummified bodies and shit in Grand Canyon, the same shit happened in Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, by the way, before 9/11, this was 1998, the Taliban found a humongous monolith of Buddha inside a mountain. And here's that right there. Actually, put the PC shot on. Here it is.
Years ago, in March, Taliban blew up the Bamiyan Buddhas.
Oh yeah, by the way, the Taliban blew up that that humongous Buddhist monolith that was inside a mountain because he thought that the Taliban believed it was Satanism.
The centuries-old figures were destroyed as the terrorist group went on a rampage against Afghanistan's rich pre-Islamic culture. The two statues were built in the 6th century, long before Islam made its way to central Afghanistan. The two Buddhas were globally renowned.
And they found it in the mountain. And they're only saying that it's from the 6th century based upon radioactive isotope dating, which I don't think is very precise.
For their beauty, the craftsmanship and size. Every year, hundreds and thousands of believers as well as tourists flock to Bamiyan to witness the 170 feet high wonder. But the once largest standing Buddhas were turned to rubble by the Taliban in
There
March
it was.
2001.
There it was right there. March 2001, before 9/11. Believe it or not, many Buddhists believe that them blowing it up and then 9/11 happening and then the Taliban being overthrown was karma being bestowed by Buddha, by the way.
20 years ago, during the same time, the Taliban
See, they
leader
blew it up.
Mullah Muhammad Omar issued a decree
They blew it up.
eliminating all non-Islamic statues and sanctuaries in Afghanistan, as part of which the two symbols of peace were blown up in thin air.
So anyway, I don't want to get too far into this. I know people are like, yeah, whatever. I'm just simply stating that there is physical evidence that Buddhism has been all around the world. And another thing that's also been all around the world are pyramids. Why are there pyramids all over the fucking place? The pyramid is in South America. The pyramids are in, the Middle East. There's, they found a pyramid, I believe it was in Serbia, that many people thought was a fucking mountain for like 120 or 200 years or even more. And then it started withering away. And then all of a sudden it was a fucking pyramid. And they went inside the pyramid, the same shit that you find in some of those South American pyramids, where if you actually go into the pyramid and some of these South American pyramids, they're actually over an underground water system, which is the same shit that happened in the Serbian pyramid. So look, a lot of weird shit, a lot of things that are happening. So I'm just saying, I think it was Mongung that was asking, hey, how do I entertain spirituality? Well, start looking for anomalies like that can't be explained. Like, hey, if Buddha was only in Asia, then why the fuck are Buddha statues all over the fucking world? And if Egypt was the originator of the fucking pyramid, how come there's pyramids all over this fucking place? And look, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I haven't even showed you that aside from the monoliths of Buddha, the pyramids, that there is massive labyrinths as well. Now, I think I talked about this a little bit, but there's a massive labyrinth. And for all those that don't know what a labyrinth is actually an underground tunnel. All right, an underground tunnel, actually an underground city, to be completely honest with you. And that's why I think people need to recognize that, and people don't know where they fucking came from. They don't know what happened. They don't know how they got there. And I think people need to recognize that there's things on our world that we can't explain. And there are people, or I should say entities, that know the truth. That's called the Long U Caves. All right, put the PC shot on. Long U Caves, by the way. Take a look at this.
1992, when a local farmer in the Zhejiang province of China was digging a well, he discovered something phenomenal. As he dug deeper into the ground, he unexpectedly broke through the surface and found himself staring into a vast underground chamber. Upon realizing the significance of his find, the farmer reported the discovery to the authorities. Archaeologists and experts were brought in to investigate the site, and what they uncovered was truly extraordinary. The farmer's accidental well digging had opened up a hidden underground labyrinth of interconnected chambers, stretching over an immense area. Estimates suggest that approximately 1 million cubic meters of rock were dug out to create these underground chambers called the Longju Caves. The Longju Caves are estimated to be at least 2,000 years old.
And
the intricacy and scale of these carvings indicate that the builders had advanced knowledge of the geology, possessed advanced engineering skills, and possibly some kind of lost technology that we are not aware of today. In 1990,
and by the way, this is not the only labyrinth that has been uncovered. There's been one in Turkey that even predates this one. A lot of things, I'll be honest with you, a lot of things going on that we really don't know about. So anyway, look, I don't want to get too far into it. I don't know the answer. Nobody knows the answer, but that's why you go and try to be spiritual in order to understand or tap into or try to communicate with or manifest or whatever the case might be, in order for you to understand your spiritual path. Because the spiritual path, in my opinion, encompasses more than one deity. I think there's more than one deity. The Jews know that. That's why, I mean, everybody hates on the Jews, but there's a reason why they seem to be more sharper or more kvetching or whatever you want to call it. The reason that they have, at least it seems like they have, some kind of powers is because they understand that the current institutional religion is not something that you oblige if you're going to be better than the status quo. The Jews and their religion is an eclectic religion. As I've always stated, they've taken and they've lived in many different civilizations. They've taken what's worked spiritually for the civilizations that they've lived in and incorporated it to themselves. All right? And dude, Enigma, don't be talking shit, dude. You're the inner circle. You're out there going to Tijuana and banging flea bags and pretending that you're goddamn some pimp, for fuck's sake, all right? So for you to sit in there and talk shit in the goddamn Vaughn chat room like, oh, this is stupid, this is that, that's because you're fucking living like a fucking piece of shit, all right? All right? You're actually believing that these bitches that do the donkey shows are actually going to take you fucking serious, all right? So fuck you. Fucking piece of shit. Give me a drink. So don't talk shit, you fucking motherfucker. Anyway, sorry about that. I didn't mean to talk about that shit, but, you know, to see Enigma have the balls to come up here and talk fucking garbage, I think that's fucking fresh. All right? I think that's fresh because the bitches that he's banging ain't fresh, all right? All right, anyway, let's go ahead and get to, what is this? 5-finger prostate punch. Definitely not Gridman. All right, we got a couple of donos here. Put the PC shot on. Ancient aliens, the Dead Sea Scrolls reveal Noah's true origins.
Qumran, Israel, 1947.
1947, Dead Sea Scrolls.
20 miles east of Jerusalem. At this ancient site in the Judean desert, Bedouin shepherds stumble upon an extraordinary discovery.
Oh, yeah?
The Dead Sea is surrounded by caves, and as young teenage boys would do, they threw a rock into the cave, heard the sound of breaking pots, came back the next day,
Oh, yeah?
climbed into the cave, and what did they find? They found huge clay jars.
Inside the storage jars were ancient texts, which very quickly they came to realize that these were incredibly important.
I'll be honest with you.
In these scrolls, we find biblical manuscripts, copies of the Bible that are...
I'm not too sure if I'm sold on the Dead Sea Scrolls, all right? Because, I mean, the story sounds ridiculous, and moreover, nobody found this shit after all the... I mean, give me a break.
1,000 years older than any previously known copy of the Bible, as well as a treasure trove of documents that we had never seen before.
Come on.
Archaeologists were surprised
Look,
to
this
find
is somebody's
that whoever
toilet
collected the
paper
Dead
that
Sea
they... Never
Scrolls
mind, I don't know.
considered the Book of Enoch to be of vital importance, preserving 11 different manuscripts.
Now, the Book of Enoch is
including
legit.
versions never seen.
By the way, the Book of Enoch is legit. It was not put into the new King James, or I should say the King James Version. Because the Bible that we read in English is a King James Version. I'm talking about, I think it was King James II of England, if I'm not mistaken, or the first, that had his people translate all these books that were in Latin and all these other fucking languages and incorporated into the King James Version. And there were Bibles, or excuse me, I should say texts or books that weren't included in the King James Version that many of the Jews still read, and the Book of Enoch is definitely one of them.
Modern times. Also found were fragments of another work attributed to Enoch, the Book of Giants.
The Nephilim.
Some parts of this text included in the Dead Sea Scrolls had been lost for centuries. And many scholars believe the stories contained within the Book of Giants were written before even the Book of Genesis.
It expounds on Genesis 6, verses 1 through 4, when the story is begun that the Watchers descended upon earth.
The fallen.
And took wives from earth women, from human women.
The fallen.
And their offspring were giants.
The Book of Giants is about the Nephilim, the sons of the Watchers. It's about their lives, their conversations, and they realize that they are evil.
They realize it.
According to the Book of Giants, the Nephilim were guilty of horrific crimes, including slaughtering humans and feasting on their flesh.
Well, they're the fallen.
God ultimately decides the earth must be cleansed and chooses one man to restart humanity anew, Noah, the great-grandson of Enoch.
The great-grandson of Enoch.
In the Bible, Noah, the son of a shepherd named Lamech, and his wife Betnos, was chosen by God because of his blameless piety. But when the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered, religious scholars were shocked to find a much different and potentially older version of the story of Noah. The Lamech scroll documents that Noah became the chosen one before he was born, and his father was not Lamech.
When Noah was born, the father, Lamech, was gone at the time. However, the wife of Lamech knew immediately something was up with Noah because he didn't look like a normal human being.
He is described as having skin so white it was radiant.
Hey, Blade the Celeron Hunter, I'll read that. I'll answer that in a minute here.
His father, Lamech, says he has the ways of the Watchers. When he blinked, his eyes lit up the whole house. This does not sound like a human being.
Enlightened.
The boy looked completely different than Lamech's other children.
He's enlightened.
And Lamech said to his wife,
He's
Batenosh,
bright.
this can't
He's
be
brilliant.
my son because I was away too long. You know, it doesn't fit with the 9 months. And Lamech goes for advice to his father, who was the biblical Methuselah. Methuselah goes to his father, which is Enoch. Enoch says, the guardians of the sky have inseminated Batenosh without touching her sexually.
Kind of sounds
He should
similar,
accept
huh?
this boy as his own and should give him the name of Noah, because the guardians of the sky have decided Noah is the father of the coming generation. So in that case, proven in the Dead Sea Scrolls, we know for sure there was an artificial insemination.
Artificial insemination. All right. Now, you got to take that with a grain of salt. Because remember, a lot of this, past stuff, we're trying to, gather from written word that was passed down, from spoken word and tradition that was passed down, and from artifacts that we find and shit. So, you got to have faith, a faith. Blade of Celeron Hunter, do I believe the Ark of the Covenant exists? I do. And the reason was because of the Knights of Templar. The Knights of Templar, I think I've told you guys this before, were an independent entity that was outside of the influence of the crown at the time. And they were, very fearless group. They understood banking. They understood finance. They were mercenaries. They were good businessmen and that sort of thing. So the Knights of Templar, believe it or not, were hired by the crown during the Crusades in order for them to, kind of conquer what was the opposition. And the story goes, because there's no really written proof about this, this is an actual Masonic story. This is actually where Masons believe the whole Masonic idea began. was when the Knights of Templar conquered Egypt. And when they conquered Egypt, they found the Ark of the Covenant. And because they found the Ark of the Covenant, they were able to have like almost more power than the crown. And the crown was very intimidated. I'm talking all monarchs were intimidated about the influence and about the financial dominance. And there's a lot of things that the Knights of Templar did. So what happened? On Friday the 13th, the French king requested the Knights of Templar at his behest. And when they got to the French kingdom, or the French castle, they were all killed and burned alive. And you see, folks, that day was Friday the 13th. And that's why Friday the 13th is a bad day. Because the Masons, all right, believe that right there was the creation of the secret society that was based upon all the knowledge that the Knights of Templar had and the power of the Ark of the Covenant that was bestowed upon them. So anyway, and by the way, tomorrow's Friday the 13th, all right? I mean, it's 4:08 in the morning. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.